Now, can we talk about your trip here to the Northern Territory, your announcement yesterday in regards to biosecurity and foot and mouth and lumpy skin disease? There was a lot of publicity about foot and mouth disease a couple of months ago. The fact that that publicity has sort of dropped away, has the threat subsided?
Look, I think the threat is still there, and you know, the last time Indonesia had a foot and mouth disease outbreak, it took them a considerable period of time to eradicate it. So we're certainly not taking the foot off the accelerator in terms of preparation for this, and that's why yesterday as you know, we announced the lumpy skin disease action plan, which in fact is a bigger threat to our cattle industry than foot and mouth disease. So I think the risk levels are still, you know, pretty high and high enough to be taking action, and that's why we're obviously still rolling out vaccines in Indonesia. We're putting on more biosecurity officers at airports, and we're working really closely with states, territories and industries to keep doing more.
The Indonesians are saying that there's no foot and mouth in Bali at the moment. Are you comfortable with what they're telling you? Are you confident that that is the case?
Well, we can only rely on the information that we're getting from the Indonesian government about this, and it does seem that they are making good progress with vaccinations. The latest information I've had is that they've vaccinated nearly 4 million livestock now, whereas they've only got about 500,000 infected animals, so that's a pretty good ratio. And again, I can only rely on the information that we're given. But what I do know, having spent time in Indonesia, is that Bali is a particular priority for the Indonesian government. They recognise that with the amount of international trade and travel through Bali, it's in their national interest, as well as every other country, to get it under control in Bali. So I do know they're putting a particular effort in there.
And we know thousands of Australians travel there every year. Will the measures that you have in place at airports at the moment, will they remain in place for the foreseeable future?
I think they will. We certainly have no plans to wheel any of them back. The risk level remains high enough for us to retain a lot of those measures, whether they be the foot mats that we installed in international airports, the extra biosecurity officers. As you probably heard me say before, though, I understand why there's a lot of attention on travellers coming back from Bali, but the biggest risk that we face in terms of foot and mouth disease is someone either mailing back or bringing back some kind of meat product that contains
hamburger from McDonald's.
Exactly. I'm hoping to meet the detector dog actually in Darwin Airport that discovered that, so, and give her a bit of a pat on the back, literally. But yeah, I mean, those measures are going to be required, but we're now inspecting every single mail package that comes into Australia from Indonesia. We've obviously now banned any importation or bringing in of meat products from any country in the world that has foot and mouth disease if they're being brought in for personal consumption, and I reckon we're going to need to keep those measures in place for a while yet. A
lot of discussion in the past couple of days about Australia supporting Joe Biden on this methane reduction scheme. Is the barbecue safe in this country?
Absolutely, and I'm very confident I could have you over for a barbecue at my place this year, next year and 10 years. So there's an invitation for you. I mean, this is just more rubbish from people who've been telling us for 10 years that the sky's going to fall in, you know, that we were going to be paying $100 for lamb roasts, the electric vehicles were going to end the weekend, and now they've got new threats out there. You know, they're pretty good at shock tactics, but they're pretty bad at running a government or doing anything on climate action. And you saw yourself, Matt, at the press conference we did in Darwin yesterday with all those cattle groups. They just want to work with government and get things done. I think one of the comments was that they were sick of being passengers in the climate wars. These people have been used for a long time by the National Party, and the National Party just haven't learned the lesson that that's not the way to go.
I'm sure they'd also be pretty alarmed about any prospect of a burp tax like we're seeing introduced in New Zealand. Can you categorically rule out we will not see that happen in
Absolutely. We have no plans whatsoever to introduce...
No plans?
Well, no, we are not bringing in a methane tax, and I've had discussions with that with a number of my cabinet colleagues. As I think I explained yesterday, New Zealand is in a different situation because over there agriculture forms about 50% of their emissions, and they need to look at more drastic measures than what we do here, where agriculture contributes to emissions but is much lower. But you know, I think one of the other important points here is that the agriculture industry and livestock in particular has made incredible headway in recent years to bringing down their emissions generally and methane emissions in particular. So we're kind of already on this path, and that's why I don't understand really this alarmist talk from the National Party other than just trying to make political points.
Murray Watt, thanks for your time.
Good on you, Matt.